Hello, Purple Rose here, and I'm continuing on in Blackwood. I am here at the Farmer's Nook, and there's a quest up here that I noticed on my way there. Come one, come all. Warm your soul with delight and daring. Watch the spectacle of the dance. Let the House of Reveries take you to a world of dreams. Find our fire south of Farmer's Nook, the House of Reveries. They were from Somerset. I didn't think they'd be here. Wow.
I admit it's quite a story, but I know the difference between a tall tale and a large problem. I'll help however I can.
I shudder to think what your elven circus would consider far-fetched. I'm not so sure I believe it myself.
It's alchemy! Oh, I'm so glad we get to see alchemy again. I liked her character.
How wonderful to see you again. Have you come to spread the wonders of Nord culture to Farmer's Nook? Or did you leave Rigert behind on this journey?
Rigert's sadly not with me this time. I wonder if he is in this zone.
A shame. Boisterousness aside, he can be quite entertaining under the right circumstances. Still, it's good to see you well and still about your travels. I figured you'd have been eaten by a dragon by now. I jest, of course. Don't give me that look.
I don't really remember her, but yeah, where's Rigert? Not a chapter without Rigert. Maybe you'll be in the DLC?
Stand well clear, my friend. My performance is hot, hot, hot!
Have you heard anything about strange occurrences in Farmer's Nook?
The only strange occurrence I've seen is a complete lack of interest in our show. You're the first person to show even the slightest interest. It's been more than a little disheartening.
Well, this place is kind of out of the way. You should go to Leowin. There's doggies. Ah, she's training them. That's cute. I always love dogs. But yeah, alchemy.
My, you're as free-roaming as a traveling circus. I wouldn't have expected we'd cross paths on the other side of Tamriel. I would invite you to join us as a guest performer, but our show is cancelled indefinitely. On account of drama, ironically.
Good to see you again. But what seems to be the trouble?
There's a more sinister mischief in Farmer's Nook than the sort the House of Reveries trades in. I hear of townsfolk disappearing, only to turn up and act oddly. We only set camp recently, but the locals fear we've somehow caused their plight.
Okay. Do you have an idea what's happening here?
None. That farmer Hesef said his sister was among the afflicted, and she died recently. At least he thought she died, but she left no corpse. I must clear the troop's name. With the locals wary as they are, though, I need help, and I can pay.
Right, I'll help you get to the bottom of it.
Hesef mentioned that two of his neighbors also had loved ones vanish, Braden DeVoe and Jahuz. Speak with them. They may be more open with a less grandiose traveler. You might also speak with Hesef directly, if you wish.
So, how have you been since I visited the House of Reveries?
Patching things up with my sister was easier than I expected. I should have given her more credit. They say you can never truly know another person, but talking helps. You should pay another visit. Maybe audition for real this time.
I'm not a performer. Glad she patched things up with the sister, though. So what are you doing out here?
Sleepy little towns like Farmer's Nook are the most in need of an escape from the mundane. We came to offer them some mirth and mystery, but it appears we've been upstaged. Well, our troop won't be outdone so easily. We have a reputation to uphold.
What are you planning to do?
Help, of course. I've devoted my life to liberating people from their troubles, however briefly. And if I can't do that from a stage, then I will take my talents where they are most needed.
Could be dangerous.
Have you forgotten already? I may have abandoned joining the Sapiarchy, but I was still a top candidate among many a talented scholar and mage. I don't have your experience as an adventurer, but I'm more suited to unraveling this mystery than most.
I'm on the case.
So, working with the mummers. They may seem strange, but you're safer resting at their camp than at the inn. Not to say Braden runs a poor establishment, mind. There's just strangeness afoot in our little village.
Helping alchemy with your problem. She suggested I hear your story for myself.
Folk have been going missing of late, including my sister, Seal. Never for long, a few days. Just enough to plant a worry before they wander back as if nothing happened. But something did. They come back different. Like everything's unfamiliar.
Like she forgot everything?
Weren't her memory. She could recall details down to where she last left the salt, but acted like she'd never tasted it. She'd bring up things I'd long forgotten as if they'd happened yesterday. Started dredging up old hurts we'd put past us long ago.
Could they have been related to her disappearing?
Can't say. Felt like she wanted to relive the past, good and bad. Don't know what would have brought that on. We lead quiet lives now. Happy lives, I thought. Led, I suppose. She's gone now. If it was even her in the first place.
What happened to her?
Seal led me to our old swimming hole. Hadn't been there in decades. She dove right in like we did as kids. I looked away before she struck the water. She hit hard. When I screwed up the courage to look, just inky black water. She was gone.
Oh, could it be one of those water spirits that are involved? That was the last time you saw her?
That's right. Even with that ink in the pool, I could tell her body weren't there. I searched around the swimming hole, too. Nothing. Not so much as a wet footprint or even more of that vile ink, like she'd vanished.
What sort of things did she bring up before she took you to the swimming hole?
A lot from our childhood, mostly. If our parents were around, they were deep in the skooma, so Seal and I had to look out for each other. Not so much anymore. The years have been peaceful here. I suppose we'd grown distant before she vanished.
You drifted apart?
No. Maybe. We'd sit down for meals together and tend the farm together, but there's not much to talk about in Farmer's Nook. Another field planted, another day gone by. Was she trying to tell me something? What was she trying to say?
What can you tell me about the time before your sister went missing?
We were all a bit shaken by what happened with Igmund, but things were getting back to normal. Until Seal went out to collect logs and didn't return. I begged the others to help me search for her, but they feared they'd vanish too.
Did you find anything?
Truth is, I didn't make it far myself. I thought I heard things in those woods. Even during the day, it felt like something was watching. When she showed up at the house again, I nearly fainted. I should have been relieved, but I felt haunted.
Could it be a wisp mother? You think it could have been her ghost?
Can a ghost take your hand? Make a meal? If she slept, I never saw it. I barely slept myself. The staring was the worst. Felt like she was always watching, smiling. When she'd blink, it was like one eye was a hair shy of the other. Gave me chills.
Would be a wisp mother? Don't know. Oh yeah, they've been enchanted by those water spirit things. Can't remember what they're called.
Oh!
Careful! You might have scared the mayor. Who are you? What do you want?
I'm looking into the disappearances and the strange way people have been acting when they return.
You've come about Bugtail. I knew someone would, but my neighbors have kept their distance since he returned. I cannot blame them. I scarcely wish to take him back myself, not after Igman and Seal, but I couldn't bring myself to turn him away.
Are you afraid of him?
Yes, or rather, I fear I will share his fate. Bugtail rode out to deliver a horse despite my protest. The gelding returned. He did not. Before I would have been the first to go looking, but I dreaded he'd return, like the others. And he did.
Where is he now?
Dead or gone, for now. Even the horses could tell something was wrong with him. I fought with this one's reins as he groomed her, but she started and kicked Bugtail. Ink sprayed everywhere. When I cleared my eyes, it was all that remained.
Ink? Had some other questions if you're willing to share more.
I do not wish to speak of what has happened here, but I will. How many more will vanish and return to haunt us if no one tries to stop it? What is it you wish to know, stranger?
Who was Bugtail to you?
In the far-off land of Elsewhere, I was taken by Sea Elf privateers and sold into Imperial slavery. Bugtail had been a slave for many years when I arrived. Like many Khajiit after Queen Eurexia invaded Elsewhere. We bonded because we spoke so little.
How did you escape?
You may think me a spinner of tall tales, but I swear I speak no lies. Bugtail and I were languishing under the hot sun, digging new metal for the Imperial Queen, when a dragon swooped out of the sky and scorched the land. In the chaos, we ran.
I believe you. I've been to Elsewhere and seen the dragons.
I hope those days have better prepared you for our troubles than I. Truthfully, I do not know what scared me more, seeing that giant fire-belching beast, or my quiet friend standing at my door, like a phantom.
What about Bugtail made you and your horses uneasy?
I would not have suspected anything amiss had I not known of what happened to Igman and Seal. There was nothing sinister in his look or manner. If anything, he regarded me more warmly than he had in years. Normally, he could go days without a word.
Any idea why he was so talkative?
He seemed to want to reminisce about our more adventurous days, before we escaped to Farmer's Nook and settled down to raise horses. They were livelier times, but I would not trade them for what I have now.
So, Seal dove into the pond, turned to ink. He just said one of the horses kicked at Bugtail and exploded into ink. Huh. What could it be? Let's talk to... who is it? Braden DeVoe? Happy Crow. Guess this is the inn.
Lord Alec Dorel must have been working with the Montclairs. Why else would his father...
So yeah, this is the inn.
We're out of meat and no hot meals. If those are luxuries to which you're accustomed, you can keep on moving and find another inn.
I'm looking into the disappearances and the strange way people are acting when they return.
What are you, some sort of adventurer? Yeah, you look the part. Sorry I was short with you. Since Igman passed, I've had to work twice as hard and twice as long to run the inn. It's done my manor no favors.
What happened to Igmund?
Damned fool. He wanted to build a bonfire and drink the night away like we used to. Haven't seen Igman down mead like that since we were barely men. He lost his legs and tumbled into the fire. Nothing but cinders left by the time I doused the blaze.
No remains?
Not so much of a scrap of clothing. Just black, tarry ashes. Never seen anything throw such a thick black smoke. But it didn't smell like you'd expect. Hair and burned flesh. More like old hay or musty linens. It wasn't natural.
I'd like to ask you what happened before his death.
I want to know what happened to my brother. Whether he's alive or truly dead. Even if the truth says he really did die in that fire, at least I can put my doubts to rest. What do you wish to know?
I heard Igman went missing for a little while.
That's right. He'd gone to get supplies from Gideon. What should have been a couple of days turned into more than a week. I'd begun to fear that he'd been robbed and left for dead on the road, but he wandered back into town like nothing had happened.
Did he say what happened?
Said he got lost. As if he hadn't walked that road 1,000 times. I'd have accused him of gambling our money away on toad races, but he had every piece of gold he left with. How do you spend a week lost in the wood and not look worse for wear?
Was there anything else unnatural about him?
Like he didn't have a care in the world. He seemed to be enjoying even the usual drudgery. Never thought I'd miss his belly aching over the chores, but he just didn't seem himself.
Did anything unusual occur before he went missing?
No. Things were as they usually are in Farmer's Nook. Uneventful. It's exciting times when our little inn sees more than a couple travelers in a month. Ever since Igman got lost, things have been nothing but trouble.
How so?
2 others disappeared since Igman, and all 3 were acting strange before they met untimely ends, if that's even what you could call it. No one wanders from the village now. Some folk are sleeping in my inn just to stick close.
Yeah.
Come on, stranger. I need to speak with you.
Okay.
So you're the one's been asking questions about the people who've gone missing, then come back wrong?
That's right. Do you know something?
I don't like involving strangers in our affairs, but my daughter's gone. Not the first time, or even the 4th, that Anise has run off, but, well, you've heard what befell the others. I'm worried she's in real danger.
When did you last see Anise?
A few days ago. I punished her for neglecting her chores again. She must have snuck out in the night. I couldn't find hide nor hair of her in the morning. She hasn't been home since. She's a stubborn one. But normally she'd have come back by now.
You're afraid she's vanished like the others?
I just want to know she's all right. I hate asking a stranger to do this, but no one else has the spine to leave the Nook right now, and I can't go traipsing after that rapscallion like I used to. Will you find Anise and bring her back to me?
Just go start my search.
Our house is just over there, on the west side of town. There may be something among Anise's things that points to where she ran off to, but my nerves are too frayed to see it. I'm at my wit's end.
Can you tell me more about Anise?
She doesn't want to live here in Farmer's Nook, I can tell you that. That girl's been trying to get out of here since she was old enough to walk. She's still convinced she's going to travel to Abba's Landing and join some pirate crew.
She wants to be a pirate?
It's not like I raised her to embrace a life of piracy. It's those books her father got her when she was young. Filled her head with ridiculous tales of far-off lands, adventures, and riches. I sailed in my younger days. It's not so glamorous.
Do you mean?
Sailing is days of rope burns and sunburns. It's being tossed about the cabin while a storm rolls your ship. It's bad food, stale water, and wondering if you'll ever make it home. And that's not the life she's dreaming. And though she won't listen.
Yeah. We have weird dreams when we're young, don't we? Bird. Dogs are listening. It's an abbey, I think. Anyway, to the house. She's probably become one of those inky things. Whatever they may be. Could be a curse. Burnt handbill? Butcher knife? And rolled up scroll. Okay, is that their house? Across the bridge. Across the water, past the rock, to 2 rocks. Okay. I found a map.
We don't have much, I know. Anise never fails to remind me. Have you found anything that might lead to my daughter?
Better than nothing. So I found some fragments of a burned note in the fireplace. Was that yours?
That's just some old handbill Anise had been hanging on to. Months old. Some vessel seeking fresh-faced deckhands that's long since pulled up anchor. I pitched it to the hearth after our last argument. Probably why she left, but not where.
Butcher's knife has taken some real abuse.
When Anise was little, we couldn't keep her away from it. She'd grab it when we weren't looking and batter the walls and stairs, pretending it was her pirate sword. Drove my husband crazy. I've made do for so long I never bothered to replace it.
What about this map? I found it under her bed.
What's that doing out? Anice's plan for a fort. My husband built it for her when she was about 6. Well, it must be a moldering wreck by now. Unless... If she hasn't run off to join that elf circus, she might be there. It was east of here, in the hills.
Check it out. Something to go on.
Ah, you're off to find this Anise girl then. Tell me what you've learned. I wasn't able to overhear everything.
Of course.
You've been gone for some time. You managed to persuade the locals to share their stories with you, yes? Did their firelight tales share any common themes?
All the victims wanted to reminisce about the past and disappeared again after sudden accidents.
Restless phantoms returning to say their last goodbyes before being spirited away once more? This really is beginning to sound like a ghost story. It's all a little too coincidental, don't you think? There has to be a common cause.
Ghosts don't leave inky substance behind. They just disappear. So my elf Faravond asked me to look for her missing daughter Anise. Have you seen her?
You and Hesef have been our only visitors at the camp. If Anise has only recently gone missing, there may still be a chance for us to find her before she becomes the latest victim in this ghost story. Do you have any leads?
Appears Anise might have run away to an old play fort in the hills near here.
Seeking out a more comforting time, no doubt. Let's hope she hasn't escaped into the arms of a monster. I'll follow your lead. My expertise in stage combat won't do us much good, but I have a few other talents and tricks up my sleeve.
Let's head to the play fort. Here. If you have illusions or whatever, that would distract enemies. So, it's over this way. Hopefully she's okay. There's some girls. So the fort's all the way over here. But yeah, what could it be? I don't think they're ghosts. Because the ghosts can't really touch you. And they can't really eat or drink. And they don't just turn into ink when they die.
What a charming little fort. Well cared for, loved. Anice's home away from home. We should look around.
You stole that? You won't get away with it! God! Why, you no-good, thieving miscreant!
Good eye. I never would have spotted that.
Her? I didn't expect that to happen.
Footprints coming here and heading somewhere else.
Huh.
Seems our pirate raided the pantry before she left. She planned to be gone a while.
She did.
I wonder what adventures this tiny sword has seen.
Shipping schedule. What of Leywin's scheduled departures? The Meritorious Ivory Brigade patrol vessel departs at dawn on Sundays for 2-week patrol. Due to return second week of Rain's Hand. Stowaway meet pirates jump ship. She's making notes. Floundering Flounder. Fishing vessel registered to Braxton Emery. Departing mid morning. Due to return. Okay, boring. Shellback. Blackfin Legion warship. Departing Maundas at noonday. Tired for Gideon. I bet hardscales could sail with them. I should reread those chapters. Merry Mermaid. Merchant vessel registered to Rangel Mori. Departing pending customs inspection. Bound for Anvil on the Gold Coast. Suspected red sail smuggler. This is perfect. If they get held up in a port, I should have plenty of time to sneak aboard. She's gone.
A list of departures. Annie's had a mind to travel. I can picture our young heroine, wielding her imagination like a saber and cutting her way through all manner of adventure. I crave adventure and freedom. Play is my only escape. I come here to plan. I fantasize about leaving. Doubt holds me back. I need someone to believe in me. So often I'm alone, but today I have a visitor. Someone I trust. I go with them. I've never been more excited.
Well, so yeah, she was just replaying what might have happened with the niece.
I believe I have thrust to the heart of the matter. Hear me out.
What was it you were doing there?
Getting into character, you could say. Preparing for a part is all about understanding my role. How they think, how they feel. Anything and everything about who they are. I have always had a good head for details, and it serves me well as an actress.
What did you learn about Anise then?
She's young, or at least young at heart. She's unhappy with her life, but she feels trapped. She has a dream to follow, but she's too scared to go it alone. Only now she's found help.
How do you know that?
One place to sleep, yet 2 mugs on the crate, both unfinished. And of course, 2 sets of footprints heading south, into the marsh, dancing all the way. The only way forward is to follow in their steps. Shall we dance too?
Let's see what we find in the marsh then.
I don't know who Annie's met out here, but the clues suggest that she wasn't in danger. Yet. We shouldn't dawdle.
Any idea who she may have met here?
Someone she trusted enough to share a drink with. There's little doubt in my mind that she left with them voluntarily. The question is, was this person really who they appeared to be? We won't know the answer to that until we catch up with them.
Maybe she really is just running away.
That might very well be the case, though I have to wonder why she'd leave her pack behind if she had no intention to return. I don't like meddling in someone's family affairs, but let's confirm she's all right before we jump to any conclusions.
Yeah. So whoever she followed, or whatever, could it have pretended to be her dad? If she was dancing, she could have been under a trance. wonder what it could be.
The tracks lead to this ruin. Did Annie's come here seeking adventure? We should look around.
Well, it's alien.
Despite the smell, I don't think that's a funerary urn. The ashes are too fresh. There are bits of paper in this brazier, but most of these books are too soggy for tinder.
The Saga of Captain Wereshark, Volume 3. Several pages before have been torn out. We'd no sooner reached the surface of the frozen island when the dread words of Prince Varga echoed through the air above and all around us. It surrounded as if the freezing air was itself speaking his words. This is my treasure, mortals, my legacy. You will not steal it away. The great northern winds serve me. Yet as we hurried up the extended landing ramps of the Pale Spirit, hauling our liberated booty no more, Draga emerged from the sunken barrow to pursue us. With the haste befitting an experienced pirate crew escaping with the hoard of treasure, we made the Wereshark's grand vessel ready to sail. With pirates with longbows ready to defend her, and a belly laden with the liberated treasure of a long-dead Draga prince, the Pale Spirit, unfurled her crimson sails. We left the frozen island and its sunken barrow behind, new snowflakes swirling around us as a northern gale filled our sails. Yet we'd barely escaped the island before the winds failed us. The once churning seas of Skyrim's coast became a placid lake, so still even a learned observer could mistake them for glass. There was no sound, no wind. Even the lapping against the spirit's hull went silent. To those on the grand boat it was like we were frozen in time, but I suspected an even more terrifying fate. Prince Varga, as threatened, had stilled the northern winds. While we could row, such activity was strenuous and slow. It might be days, even weeks before we succeed in rowing to shore, and the Pale Spirit's belly was laden with gold, not provisions. We could not eat gold. Would we starve amidst this placid sea as the cruel, glowing eyes of Prince Varga observed from inside his sunken tomb? No. Captain Wereshark declared we are not defeated. I have recovered the jewel of the entombed prince, and with that and the scrolls we found on the Isle of the Red Mist, we will defeat this sorcery. Led by mighty Flicker, the pirates and I cheered. Our captain had never failed us, no matter how dire the situation, and I had no fear he'd fail now. Prince Varga might be ancient and powerful, but Captain Wereshark was the savviest captain with which I'd ever sailed. With a merry bow and wave, Captain Wereshark and Cracked Teeth, the cannibal priestess, retired to the Wereshark's private quarters. Together the captain assured us he and the Isle of Red Mist's fugitive queen were tame. Magics we needed to escape. With our captain and the Queen of Bones set to their task, there was naught for the rest of us to do. Vimy played a merry tune on her flute as Naramo sent sparks of magic into the empty air, determined to solve the problem on his own. Naramo! Some others arm wrestled or threw dice, while the more industrious of us, under the watchful eye of mighty Flicker, swapped the decks clean of blood and checked the ropes and sails. When the wind returned, and we were certain it would, we'd need the spirit in her best form. Hours passed, morning turned to noon, and soon Galena, Two Scows, and the two silent Bosma, who had shadowed her, passed out the day's rations. We ate too quickly, boasted too loudly, because the deafening silence of a becalmed sea had us all spooked. Even Vumi's merry tune grew mournful, and then without the flutter of sails or creak of wood, The sound of froth rose against the hull. We moved, like excited children clamouring to Daggerfall's walls. To cheer an approaching justice festival, I and the other pirates pressed against the Pale Spirit's railing. The Pale Spirit moved, froth spreading from her bow, but our sails remained limp. How were we sailing without wind? Galena Two Scars called out with joy from the stern, beckoning us to her. We rushed aft and witnessed two gargantuan shells beneath the waves, as well as the frothy movements of flippers as big as our landing boats. I could not believe my eyes, giant sea turtles. Somehow Captain Wereshark and the cracked teeth, the cannibal priestess, had summoned the ancient sea titans. The turtles pushed the Pale Spirit at a speed even winds couldn't match. As we watched in awe, Captain Wereshark and the Queen of Bones emerged from his private quarters, clothing in disarray. Both were flushed with recent exertion, and it was only then I remembered the tales of the rituals practiced on the Isle of Red Mist. Tales perhaps too graphic for an account such as this. Whatever the captain and priestess had conjured in the Wereshark's private quarters, it had worked. Smiling with her bright yellow teeth, cracked teeth brushed aside the clattering bone charms in her hair and pointed to the sea. Behold, ye simple pirates, the ancient matrons of the sea, Nose and Stegofins. Your captain's prowess has earned their aid. And though it would be night before we reached shore, I already knew we'd escape this becalmed sea.
This book is well worn, but hardly old. Given the subject matter, I'd wager it belonged to Annie's. Well, this is troubling.
Yeah, that was a good story though. And the back's two sea turtles.
I believe Annis came here and performed some sort of ritual, and not the sort conjured from an overactive imagination. Whoever she followed here convinced her to make an offering to this place.
What makes you say that?
I'm certain that well-worn adventure book was a dear possession to Annis. She wouldn't have torn pages from it for a lark. She burned them in that brazier with her own blood for some ritual purpose.
Any idea what that could be?
Daedric rituals weren't on my curriculum in the College of Sapiarchs, but I've studied enough magic to puzzle this out. There's a good chance Annis will return to town, like the others. If she does, confront her about this.
All right, I'll head back.
If Annis does return to Farmer's Nook, be careful confronting her. The last thing we want is for her to do something drastic and come to harm like those who came before her.
What if the one who led Annis out here returns?
Afraid my witty repartee won't be enough to keep me out of trouble? I'm hurt. Trust me when I say I know how to make a dramatic exit when I need to, but if I don't return to town in a short while, assume the worst.
Hope not. So, still don't really have any info, just that she performed some ritual with someone she knew. Yeah. And I doubt she'll be the same.
Anise, everything all right?
You. Your mother's looked all over for you. Where have you been?
Ugh, I ran away again, all right? Just be glad I came back at all.
Wow. Don't have to be rude.
She's back. She's safe. Oh, it feels like I've pulled my heart from a vice. Oh, sorry I troubled you with another of Annis's tantrums.
I don't think it's her.
Well, she certainly acts like Anise. I'll be keeping my eye on her all the same.
Do you think she's like your brother or the others?
Can't say for certain. She only just returned and I can't say the girl and I were all that close. I'd just assume the worst if it's all the same to you.
I want to believe that this is really Anise, but just keep seeing my sister when I look at her. Please, you need to put an end to this. Can't live life looking over my shoulder like this.
How can you tell?
I can't say. Just a feeling in my gut. Gotta watch her a while yet to know for certain. If she's like Seal, the eyes will tell. Mark my word.
Her? Oh, she's smiling.
What's the big deal? This is the 7th time I tried running away in 3 years. Why are they all gawping at me like they're afraid to blink?
You're not the first person to disappear recently.
Do I know? No, I don't know you. Why do you care? And none of those people disappeared. They went after their dreams. I'm not the only one who has those, you know. Nobody wants to be stuck in Farmer's Nook for their whole life.
But they all came back, like you.
They just didn't want anyone to miss them. It's why I'm here now. I didn't want the last time my mom saw me to be after another fight. But they have to let us go sometime.
You make it sound like they're dead.
What? No, it's not like they're buried in a crypt or anything. I'm just trying to say I'm not the only one who felt trapped here. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I don't even know you.
Her?
I hate to interrupt, but... May we have a word in private?
So if they left, could the people that returned have been illusion or a type of illusion? Just to give their family closure?
So, that's Anise Favrod. What do you make of her?
Don't have anything to compare her to, but she might know more than she's letting on.
How apropos, considering that little library we found is a shrine to Hermaeus Mora. Though I'm still not sure how the Demon of Knowledge fits into this puzzle of ours. Why would Anise consort with it? Perhaps I should have made an offering of my own?
Hermaeus Mora, interesting. You're saying Anise was dealing with Daedra?
It certainly looks that way. I didn't find anything relating to the ritual that was performed at that shrine, but some of those moldy tomes shed a little light on things. The Aliads who used to live out here revered Mora as their principal prince.
How does that help us?
The shrine we found was simply one of many ruins. I discovered record of another ruin near to Farmer's Nook. If we're dealing with a cult, or some other servants of Mora, it would make the perfect hideaway. What do you say we go check it out?
Could be worth investigating. Let's go.
The ruin I spoke of is north of town, not too far. I'll have a word with the innkeeper and Hesef about keeping Anise occupied while we work, but if you wish to speak with anyone else before we head out, I'll wait here.
Are you that worried about Anise?
We have reason to suspect that Anise is somehow involved in this mystery. Better to assume she is playing the role of the villain until we know more. Even if she's simply another victim of circumstance, it's safer for everyone that she stay put.
I guess.
She's back. She's safe. Oh, it feels like I've pulled my heart from a vice. Oh, sorry I troubled you with another of Anise's tantrums.
Everything seems normal then? Nothing unusual?
No, nothing. She looks right as rain, and I'd recognize that attitude anywhere. I know what you're driving at. You're saying I should be worried? Well, out with it.
Your daughter did some kind of ritual out in the mast. You might want to watch her closely.
Ritual? What nonsense has gotten into the girl's head now? Anise doesn't know the first thing about magic. She's just got an overactive imagination and too much free time. Well, thank you for telling me. I'll mention it when I ground her.
Okay.
Look, just leave me alone. I'm going to get enough of an earful from my mom about this.
Yep, she's gonna ground you. Even though you're an adult.